Very special one. We're going to have the youth panel. And to moderate the youth panel, I'd like to invite Beatriz Lopes.
I have the pleasure to introduce Beatriz Lopes. Beatriz Lopes has grown up in Spiritism, attending the Allan Kardec Spiritist Center Danbury in Connecticut. She has been involved in Spiritism by participating in study groups, giving lectures, delivering a speech at the United Nations, and most recently helping to coordinate a youth Spiritist retreat. Today, she'll be moderating the youth panel entitled Youth Perspective on Spirituality and Mental Balance. And to be part of this panel, we ask to come to the stage Gabriel Macedo, Sophia DeOliveira, and Isabella Cabral. Please welcome them.
That's fine. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. So thank you all for being here today. This is really such an amazing event. I'm so excited for these youth to share with you all. So today we'll be having a panel talking about the perspective of youth and what they have to say on mental balance and spirituality. I've been meeting with this incredible group of Spiritist teens to prepare for this event, and I'm so excited for you to see how much incredible knowledge and lived experiences they already have at the ages of 15, 16, and 17. At the beginning of our planning, they had the wonderful idea to reach out to the Spiritist community and ask you all what questions you would like to ask teens on the topic of mental balance. And so, unfortunately, we can't get to every question today, but we put together a good assortment of questions from the public that they're going to be answering for you all. So before we get started, I do want to share a little bit about each of our panelists because, again, at these ages of 15, 16, and 17, they've already accomplished so much. So first up is Sophia DeOliveira. Do you want to wave? If you were at the symposium last year, you'll remember Sophia as she is a returning youth panelist. Sophia is 15 years old, currently in 10th grade, and from the state of Texas. Sophia has been a Spiritist since 2017 and attends the Sunrise Spiritist Society Center. A fun fact about Sophia is that she knows 4 languages: English, Portuguese, Spanish, and sign language. For fun, she enjoys writing poetry, which you all might get lucky enough to hear today. And she currently works as a swim instructor for little kids. When she's older, her dream is to build a youth clinic as a psychologist. Welcome, Sophia. Next up, I want to introduce you all to Bella. Isabella Cabral is 16 years old and from Connecticut and in her junior year of high school. Bella has been a Spiritist her whole life and attends the Spiritist Society of Bridgeport, which is now actually located in Stratford, Connecticut. Bella is very involved with her center and with her youth group. She also has attended several Spiritist youth retreats that are so much fun, and I definitely recommend. Bella is an advocate against gun violence inside and outside of school to ensure the safety of students within the school system. She also partners with her town's Drug Abuse Prevention Coalition to provide mental health services to teenagers. For fun, Bella loves theater and dance, especially tap dance. Her career aspiration is to become a journalist. Welcome, Bella. And last but certainly not least, we have Gabriel Macedo. You will recognize Gabriel from the lovely music we heard this morning and at lunchtime. Gabriel is 17 years old and a high school senior from Florida. Gabriel has been a Spiritist his whole life, but really started focusing on studying Spiritism in 2018. He currently attends Centro Espírita Chico Xavier and participates in many studies there on topics such as the Spiritist doctrine, mediumship, the Spirit's book, and the Gospel according to Spiritism. At his center, he also leads the youth group class, gives passes, and coordinates lectures. When he's not at school or at the Spirit Center, he enjoys playing the piano, as we saw, martial arts, and praying. His dream is to compose classical music and inspire others. Welcome, Gabriel. So far during this event, we've heard a lot of people talk about mental balance and spirituality. So to start off, what does mental balance mean to you all in your youth perspective, and why is it an important topic for youth? And for this question, we'll start off with Gabriel.
So, first of all, we have to understand and work through developments, right? Because as teenagers, we experience a lot of changes both physically and mentally. And those changes can be a little difficult, right? So we have to find a balance between both of them and do stuff that we like. We should do charity, we should find hobbies to do. And also as teenagers, we have to figure out what we want to do as adults, right? And that can also be a very challenging thing, right? Because there are so many options of so many things that you might want to do. So you always have to try your best during your teenage years. You have to learn discipline. Discipline is everything. When you learn discipline at a young age, that discipline is most likely going to follow through all the way to your old ages.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. I know, you guys are going to see there's a lot of incredible answers coming your way. Bella, what about you? Why do you think this is an important topic for youth, especially?
So first of all, taking care of your sort of mental state and reaching a state of mental balance and striving for that is, first of all, and first and foremost, an act of self-love, being able to analyze yourself and see that I need improvement, and to be able to make that decision so that you can grow and feel better is, above all, an act of self-love. And it's important for youth and sort of to have this conversation about mental balance because of how much sort of youth today are experiencing. We are experiencing, our generation, a lot of unprecedented sort of experiences. We have sort of the new norms of social media, more social pressures in that sense, but also with the pandemic, how that really took us in sort of in a very developmental stage of our lives, and we were all stuck at home. We couldn't talk. We didn't have that interaction and that real, I guess, fundamental stage of our lives as it had been for a lot of other generations. So, and all of these, I guess, challenges that we've been presented, they're not challenges as much as roadblocks that we can overcome, but they are very much unprecedented, and it took a huge hit. Our generation took a huge hit in terms of our mental state. And so having these conversations with adults and youth alike are super important.
Absolutely. It's really important to remember that today's youth are going through things that we could have never imagined would have happened. Sophia, what are your thoughts on why this is an important topic?
So for me, what mental balance means to me is knowing how to pick yourself back up and working through very difficult situations, because it helps build up resilience, which is very key to mental balance, you know, being able to persevere and go through very difficult situations without giving up. And there's definitely plenty of coping mechanisms that can help us with this. One that I learned that's very helpful is called TIP. And it's a coping mechanism that you use when you're like very close to a panic attack. You're just very super stressed. It's an acronym. It means temperature change, intense exercise, paced breathing, and progressive muscle relaxation. And it's just 4 different things you can do physically that will help ground you and help give you the mental balance, or at least to calm you down so you're able to work through difficult situations logically in that moment. Another thing is knowing that you're not alone. I mean, there are definitely plenty of people that are going through the same, if not quite similar things that you are going through.
Thank you so much, Sophia. A great tip that you already gave us, so thank you. So how can youth identify when they're in a moment of mental balance or mental imbalances? And for this one, we'll start with Sophia.
One way is like seeing how other people perceive you. You know, your loved ones and your friends, they're always going to tell you, you know, when you're acting up, because they know your normal behavior. You know, oh, you know, you seem kind of sad, or, you know, you've been distancing yourself lately? Is there something wrong, or you've been more angry? When people say those things to you, it gives you a chance to think, oh wow, like, because we don't know how we act. Everything that we do it normally, right? And so when people see it in a different perspective, it encourages self-reflection. We get a chance to say, oh, why are people saying this? Is this true? And we start to question, oh, are we really in that state of mind? So yeah, people can definitely tell us when we're mentally imbalanced.
Yeah, that's a great point. Sometimes we don't want to hear what other people have to say about us, but they can give us really good insights. Bella, what about you on this question?
So what's super important, and I think is the first step to sort of identifying it, is to know yourself and to know your feelings, to not push down or try to hide any emotions that you might be feeling, and to instead sort of follow it. Sort of, if you feel, that feeling that you get, maybe it's like a pit in your stomach, or you feel like something isn't right. Well, ask yourself, why isn't this right? Where is the origin of this feeling? And sort of when you can find that and work through it, it can really allow you to see, like, okay, what do I have to do, or what can I do to return to a state of mental balance? And in addition to emotional stuff, sometimes you can have physical sort of reactions to stuff. So I know, so sometimes with sort of anxiety, you start to tremble, or sometimes you'll get like a headache or a stomach ache. And so listen to your body when you already emotionally don't feel super right, or you're really stressed out, and your body starts giving you these signals, being like, listen to it so that you can pinpoint and sort of administer a course of action to return to the state of mental balance.
Thank you so much for that answer, Bella. And Gabriel, what about you? How can youth identify?
So you have to do a little something called introspection, right? You have to reflect on yourself, either by the end of the day or by the end of the week, right? Really look back at what you did. Think, what I did, was it good or was it bad? You have to know yourself, and you have to know your own actions that you made, right? What do you have to change? What do you have to keep? Or what do you have to improvise? Again, we always have to try to do our best every day.
Absolutely. Reflecting on ourselves is also a great way. Sometimes we just go through the motions and we don't think about what we've done. So that's a great answer. Thank you. So we know that all of us, and including youth, have moments of mental balances and also imbalances. So what are some things that youth can do when they're in those moments of mental imbalance? And for this one, we'll start with Bella.
So when you're in a moment of sort of mental imbalance, first of all, have compassion with yourself, and don't punish yourself for feeling this way. It's natural. We are going to come across a lot of challenges. And so find compassion with yourself and show yourself the self-love. Because sort of this insecurities or stuff that can come up, they can trigger a lot of mental imbalance. So making sure you have compassion for yourself and self-love is like one of the top things you can do. And in addition to that, sometimes it's hard. Again, we all know it can be difficult to work through mental imbalances. But as we were talking about earlier, if God put it to, if it's in your life, God knows you can handle it. And even if you think it's very difficult, something that's super, super important, and I could not recommend enough, is therapy. And I know there's the stigma around this word that needs to be broken down, because it's one of the best things you can do for yourself. Genuinely, even when you're in the middle of sort of dealing with a roadblock, therapy is super helpful for allowing you to work through it, but also preemptively is super important. For example, if you know you're going to have like a test coming up, but you don't know the exact date, like a pop quiz, you're going to study the material in class and at home so that when it comes up, you can work through the difficult problems on this, for example, math pop quiz, so that you can pass it. The same goes with sort of these challenges that we experience in life. When you go to therapy or you read Spiritist teachings and you learn these different techniques to work through these challenges, it works the same way. It allows you to evolve more and to work through these states of mental imbalance a lot easier.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so amazing that today's youth is growing with more awareness of therapy, although there still is some stigma around it. So it's really important, like you said, Bella, to share that and to know that therapy is a great tool at any stage of your life. So thank you. Sophia, what about you? What are some things you can do in moments of mental imbalance?
Well, one thing we can do. Oops. One thing we can definitely do is ask for help. You know, the first step is always recognizing that we need help, and the second step is asking for it. And there's different ways we can do this. And there is a skill that we can use. It's called Dear Man. It's two acronyms split, Dear and Man. And it's a way that you can ask for help. The D is like describing the situation. So you describe what's going on. You know, I have a bunch of homework. I have a test coming up that I don't know anything about. Just very real, trust me. And then, you know, just expressing it factually, what is going on. Then the E is expressing your emotions using I statements. You know, I feel this. I feel stressed out. I feel anxious, I feel worried, I feel sad, whatever it is that you feel, you say I feel, and then you put your feeling. And then the A in Dear is assert your needs. You need to assert what you want, you know. I feel stressed, so I need someone to help me with my homework. I feel worried, so I need someone to help me study to make sure that I know the material. You know, you make sure you really say what you need help with, how you need the help. And the R is reinforcing with positive things, you know? If you help me, I will do good and everything will be all right. I get good grades. If I ask for help, my suffering or my difficult situation will be a lot easier because I have someone there with me. Another way we can ask for help is by calling numbers. You know, there's certain numbers that we can call. You know, we can call 911 for emergencies. We can call 988, which is the National Mental Health or Suicide Hotline. But I don't recommend calling it if you are very close to committing suicide because they will put you on hold. No, they do. It's unfortunate. They will put you on hold. There's like 800-656-4673, which is a sexual assault line. 866-331-9474, which is the domestic or dating violence line. And 800-931-2237, which is an eating disorder line. So there are different numbers for specific problems that people are suffering with that you can call if you need the help and you don't have anyone to ask.
Thank you so much, Sophia. It's so important for us to have awareness of those hotlines and resources. And a lot of towns and districts do have their own resources. So definitely do some research online because towns sometimes have specific phone numbers you can call. So thank you, Sophia. Sorry.
What about you, Gabe?
What about you,
You're kind
Gabe?
of silent.
Great job, Sophia.
There's so much, right? Prayer. When you pray, before I say anything about it, where does it have to come from? Your heart, right? You have to know what you want. If you're just saying, oh, I want this, I want that, thank you for this day, thank you for this, the prayer is not going to be that effective. And if you're just having a stressful day, right? If you're angry, if you're upset, if you're confused, if you're annoyed, the right answer is to pray. Praying can give you answers. All right. And on question 660 of the Spirit's book, it states that when you pray, God sends good spirits towards your way, and that can help you evolve, right? Because the good spirits are guiding you towards the right path, right? But it's up to you if you really want to choose that path or not. And like I said before, prayers can give you answers, but does that mean that a spirit's literally going to pop up next to you and just be like, hey, go do that? No, right? Unless you're an extensive medium with that type of mediumship. But most likely, the spirit probably won't literally tell you the answer because, again, you have free will. You can do what you want, but it's up to you if you want to choose that path or not.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. So, what are some activities that youth can participate to help them achieve mental balance? We'll start with Sophia on this one.
So one of the things that I do is I use poetry as a way to be able to express my emotions effectively. You know, I can't sometimes when it's all like bottled up inside you and you got that thing inside your belly and inside your chest. You're like, you can't say it. And so when it's put into a written format, it's like really neat and it's just all out there, you know? And I'm able to essentially put ugly things into pretty words. Yeah. And it's also a very great way to talk about uncomfortable topics. So I wrote this where is my poem? I wrote this poem a couple months ago, and I think it's a really great example of this. So if you'll have me, I would like to present my poem, which is called The Comfort of Sadness. The comfort of sadness hugs you after it beats you with insults, kisses you after feeding dead thoughts in your head, the comfort of sadness. The love that pours from the blood on your wrist, the tired you feel after spending all day in bed, the urge you feel to push away from everyone just for the comfort of sadness. Like a mosquito bite, you're told not to itch, but the itching feels so good, you feel bliss and fulfilling what you felt needed to be done, and that is the comfort of sadness. Trapping us in a cage of illusions and misery, twisting with its hands the way we view reality, buying us black and white glasses in a world full of color, and telling us no one sees the world this way but you, and that is the comfort of sadness. To make you feel different and special so you don't go near no one else, to make you, forcing you to not believe in yourself, a toxic dependent relationship on an emotion that chains you to its feet and says, we're friends, the strange comfort of sadness and its hypnotic pool that leaves us drowning forever. And that poem was about essentially depression. I mean, I put it in a way where even if you don't have depression, you can sort of understand things that I go through with depression. And so that's an example of how I use my poetry to express my emotions and get people to understand what I'm talking about, even if they don't feel it themselves.
Absolutely. Another round of applause for that beautiful poem. Thank you so much for sharing that. And again, this really is an incredible group of youth. Gabriel, what do you think? What are activities youth can participate to help them achieve mental balance?
Well, one of them, obviously, music, right? But I'm not talking about any style of music, right? I'm specifically going to talk about classical music. Classical music can be a form of meditation, right? If you put a nice, relaxing piece of classical music, do you think you're going to be like hyper all over the place? Most likely not, right? You're going to relax and your spirit also elevates, right? The room, it changes, right? Classical music can also stimulate your brain, right? So for the younger people here, when you listen to classical music before a big test, right, or before a quiz, you're most likely to remember what you studied than if you listen to any other style of music. Classical music can also help you connect with the spirituality, all right? Mostly the calm, soothing pieces from Beethoven, Mozart, Chopin. They can all help you connect with God, right? Who doesn't want to be connected with God here, right? Everyone does. And it can also inspire you to do things. Let's say a poet, right? He's about to write a poem. The poet can listen to classical music and get inspirations from the music to write out the poem. Or same thing with the musician. If a musician reads a poem, he can also get the inspiration from it and write a piece of music down. That is what happened to Antonio Vivaldi. He based his famous Four Seasons on a poem. And in the book Spiritism in the Arts, published in 1922 by Leon Denis, it states that Beethoven is working with a certain medium for a Spiritist anthem that is soon to be published. So that's a little fun fact.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, as we heard Gabriel's beautiful music, it really is inspiring and puts us in the right mood and the right vibration. Sophia, what about you? What activity do you think can help youth? Bella, what activity do you think youth can participate in to help them achieve mental balance?
So for me, I love dance and theater. They're two ways that I can express myself, but also learn. And really quick, just to bridge everything, all of these sort of activities that we're talking about are really healthy coping mechanisms when you're going through mental imbalances or working through stuff. And when you feel something that you have a passion for, and that you really, really enjoy, it's important to have that healthy coping mechanism there, because in our world today, it was talked about earlier, there are a lot of unhealthy, coping mechanisms, such as we see among youth. There's a drug and alcohol abuse, and a lot of other very unhealthy ways with dealing with mental imbalance. And so these activities that we do aren't just activities for funsies, but they are fun, but they're also for being able to work through these mental imbalances in a safe and healthy way. And so for me, I'm going to start off with dance and then I'll go into theater because they both connect. And so dance for me is a very interpretive style of movement. It allows you to convey emotions that you have or emotions that you're working through in whatever piece that you're learning. And sometimes the emotions that you have to convey are different from the ones that you're feeling, and so you sort of have to work through what you're feeling in order to convey this emotion as best as you can. But sometimes it is the emotion that you're feeling that you're trying to convey, which allows you to make deeper and better choices as you're dancing. Including sort of a huge one for me, at least with processing emotion, is improv dancing, in which on the spot you come up with movements that just feel right. And it's a great way to be able to process emotion, to channel whatever I'm feeling into a movement, and sort of every movement I have having a purpose. And sort of, also dance is exercise. So those endorphins and such that you get from exercise make you feel really good and very energized, which is also a very healthy coping mechanism, just exercise in general. And then sort of moving into the theater side of it, it's a huge learning opportunity. First of all, I just love performing. It's a huge passion for me. And like I said, when you find something that you're passionate about, it makes sort of life easier. And so, but for me at least, watching theater is almost like reading a book. You can pinpoint, I agree with what this character did. I don't agree with what this character did. This is what I would do instead. Sort of being able to see these really difficult situations and interpret them as I would do this if this was if I was in this situation, or in my case, maybe this could be applied to my situation, sort of. And so having these sort of stories and lessons are super, super important as we evolve so that we can learn without necessarily going through these trials. In addition, a huge portion of theater that I do as well is improv theater, which again means you're given like a prompt or a scenario, and without a script, without nothing, you or a group of people will put together a scene on the spot automatically. And so in this, especially with people who have anxiety, you can really tunnel in and focus in the moment on each of the different movements or choices that each of the people are making. And again, it allows you to learn, I would do this next time, or if I was this character, I would have made this decision instead. I like what this person did with this idea, but I think I would have interpreted it differently. Sort of being able to analyze it and again, apply it to our day-to-day lives. Which I also do a lot when I'm directing. When you're given a script, again, you can't watch it, but when you have to look at each of the characters and sort of their different values and personalities and motives, and being able to write a scene, to block a scene that fits all of it. I could go on for days about this, but but it's again, it's just really important to have a healthy coping mechanism to get through these periods of mental imbalance that we all face.
Thank you so much, Bella. And such an incredible group again of teens of doing all activities that I don't do yet, but I'm inspired to take up one of those or all of them. So definitely awesome to see some of the methods you all use to express yourselves and, you know, show others how they can put that in their lives. So now the question is, how can Spiritism help you with your journey to mental balance? And we'll start with Bella on this one.
In case you weren't tired enough of me talking, here I am again. So through Spiritism, we learn that our planet we're in planetary evolution always. But right now, Earth is in this transition period. We're a world of trials and atonements, but we are in a transition period. And so that means a lot of the youth today are getting their last chances to sort of evolve as much as they can before we shift sort of in our planetary evolution. And so Spiritism, along with offering sort of this explanation, being like, this is why there's a lot of challenges, it also provides for us, again, opportunities to learn different methods to work through these roadblocks that aren't meant to cut us off and to fall into despair, but for us to improve, for us to evolve. And so, so Spiritism provides really good explanations for why our youth need to be having these conversations about how to achieve mental balance and work through these issues, because we want to progress as far as we can in this incarnation.
Thank you so much, Bella. Sophia, what about you? How can Spiritism help youth with their journey to mental balance?
Reincarnation. It's really awesome. Question 167 of the Spirit's book says, what is the aim of reincarnation? And the Spirits say expiation, progressive improvement of mankind. Without this aim, where would it be its justice? Reincarnation helps improve and progress humanity through multiple existences. So our mental balance gets better as we go through reincarnation because we are constantly improving. We always go forward, we never go back. So we're always going to go through trials and tribulations that will help us get better. And in the Spirit's book, Kardec is writing on the chapter reincarnation, and he writes, "It is though a sick man should say, I have suffered enough today, I do not choose to suffer tomorrow. No matter what may be his unwillingness to suffer, he will nevertheless be obliged to go on suffering, not only on the morrow, but day after day until he is cured." We don't stop reincarnating. We don't stop until we have reached perfection, which may not happen in this lifetime, may not happen in the next lifetime, may not happen in the next 50,000 lifetimes. But it is a goal we should always aim for, even if we don't know when it is going to happen. We should always aim for that goal of, being perfection like Jesus. And Kardec is still writing, and he says, the question growing out of the subject we are considering might be multiplied indefinitely for the psychological and moral problems which can only find their solution in the plurality of existences are innumerable. Sometimes we cannot fix things in this lifetime. Sometimes we need reincarnation in order to help us improve and fix our mental imbalance. And saying this to youth is really important because we believe that things are going to go on forever and that there is no end to everything. But even reincarnation isn't forever. It might be a really long time, but it isn't forever, and it will help us get to where we need to be if we do it right.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Gabriel, what about you? How can Spiritism help?
So in our daily lives, right, we are always being guided by spirits. Question 459 of the Spirit's book, Kardec asks, do spirits influence our thoughts and actions? The spirits answer with, their influence upon them is greater than you suppose, for it is often they who direct both. What does this mean? Spirits guide us a lot, right, during our daily lives, just like I just said before. But they can be both good spirits and bad spirits. And here's the thing. Every decision that you choose, it's not always a spirit. You can't blame like a spirit for a decision that you made. Let's say you did something really bad. You're not going to be like, oh, the spirit made me do it. No, right? Because you also have free will, right? You can do that thing or you can choose not to do that thing. So you always have to keep in mind that depending on your vibrations, right, certain spirits are going to come to you. You always want to try to stay in a prayer, right? Watch and pray. So you can be careful for those bad spirits trying to influence you, or even people incarnated trying to influence you to do certain things. But there are also the good spirits, right? Your mentors. They're always going to be there for you. They're always going to try to guide you to the correct path, right? But it's up to you if you really want to choose that path or not.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. So unfortunately, we are at the end of our panel already. But there's a lot of people here with us today in the room and also watching virtually. So what advice would you give our audience members on the topic of mental balance? And for this one, we'll start with Gabriel.
So my advice is, right, I have a bunch of advices. They go for both adults and teenagers. We are here on Earth to evolve, right? Earth is not a little vacation place. They can just come here and hang out. We know that our real home is in the spiritual realm. So in the planet Earth, right, we are here to evolve. We're here to do good things. We're here to follow Jesus. But that also means work, right? I know the word work is pretty annoying sometimes, because who doesn't want to lay on their couch and watch Netflix all day while eating popcorn? A lot of people do, right? And that can be pretty bad. We can't stay stationary for a long period of time, because what are we here for? We're here to evolve. Exactly. And another thing, we cannot joke about mental health. What I mean by joke by mental health, I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself, or oh, this guy should kill himself over a joke, right? Or if it's just a joke. We have to remember that words have impacts, whether they're positive or negative. But guess what else have impacts? Your thoughts. All right, your thoughts travel through the cosmic universal fluid, kind of like how sound travels through air. But here's the catch: thoughts are limitless. You can think something in one side of the universe, and it's going to go to the other in like an instant. So those are like, you have to be careful for your thoughts. And your thoughts can harm other people, right? It can bring down the vibrations of other people. But guess who it's mostly going to harm? Yourself, right? But we also have to remember that no one's perfect. All right, everyone is going to make mistakes here. Even if it's just like a bad thought, guess what? That's a mistake. Try going a whole day without thinking something bad and only doing good things. Trust me, you're going to sleep like an angel. And another thing that brings me to this topic is that suicide is never the right decision, right? Like I said before, we are here on Earth for a reason. Even if you think that you have no one here for you, that no one loves you, guess who's always going to be here for you? Always. Jesus. All right, he's always going to walk with you through the path. He's always going to try to guide you. But sometimes we distance ourselves from him, which is not good. And we can't keep distancing from Jesus because he's here for us. He loves us. Who here participates in a study group in your Spiritist Center? Good. All right, that's really good. Participating in only 50 to an hour lectures, right, is not enough. All right, you have to study the books. What I mean by study, you can participate in a study group in your Spiritist Center, right? Every Spiritist Center has at least a study group. Or if they don't, get a book. All right, study a book, such as the Spirit's book. All right, that book has so many questions and so many answers. Once you read a question, what's going to happen? You're going to think of another question. And that leads you to reading the book even more. That book is going to get you interested into buying other books. And that book's going to get you interested in buying another book. It's like a whole cycle. All right. And studying Spiritist books help to open our mind to new things, right? It really opens our mind to life after death, why we're here on Earth, what we're going to have to go through. And study books. It helps a lot.
Thank you so much, Gabriel. Thank you so much, Gabriel. Again, incredible insights from these teenagers. So Bella, what advice will you leave our audience with today?
So There is nothing I can stress more right now than the importance of both therapy and breaking down the stigma that surrounds asking and getting help. Both these conversations between youth and adults that we ask, but also you guys here. If you guys want to come and talk to us afterwards, we'd love to chat.
Definitely do.
But sort of the importance of breaking down this stigma so that more kids can and youth can get access to these resources that will help us evolve, but also truly improve just lives. If your child or teenager comes up to you being like, I feel this, I feel that, I think I need help, is there anything you can do? There is so much that you can do. Just being able to accept that your child is coming up and asking and not being like, no, you're wrong. No, that's not you. No, you're not. You're just kidding. You're too young to be feeling these emotions. You're too young to be sad. Look how good your life is. Because that's invalidating their feelings is not gonna change anything. And so being able to provide and invest, as we were talking about earlier, in therapy, first of all, also when you're in the middle of a difficult situation, but also preemptively for youth is super, super, super important. And I cannot stress it enough. Being able to study Spiritism and all the conselhos, I don't know how to say that in English, but sort of all of the conselhos and sort of tips and tricks in there for us to be able to work through these and evolve. Being able to provide these for youth is super, super important. And also going along with what Gabe was saying about not being lazy, you also don't want to overwork yourself. We all have a limit. And youth today, due to just the competitive nature of schools and just the way our society works, of everyone competing, trying to be the best that they can be, to try to get into the best college, to try to be the best in sports, sort of we push ourselves to past our limit, a lot of us. And so being able to accept that sort of this limit exists and to be able to tell yourself, and I'm saying this and I'm listening too, because I push sometimes I just won't sleep enough hours. I know we don't sleep, any of us sleep the recommended hours that youth are supposed to get. But sort of being able to recognize that you have a limit and pushing yourself past there will put your mental balance at risk, and being able to do this act of self-love and prioritize sort of yourself.
Thank you so much, Bella. So to wrap us up today, Sophia, what advice would you give to our audience?
I would say to respect and validate the youth views and their experiences. I hear a lot of adults say, oh, back in my day, or when I was your age, or when I was young, back when you were young, you didn't have the internet, you didn't have electronics, right? And you don't have to deal with the struggles that we deal with, because nowadays is a lot different than how it was when the adults were teenagers. And I think also sometimes adults forget that they were teenagers, because they forget that we also experience emotions very intensely, very deeply. And so what might not seem like a big deal to you is a huge deal to me. And so validating what's going on in the lives of the youth, even if you don't understand, even if you haven't gone through it, you respect it and you validate it, because it still exists. It is still there. It's not going away unless we respect and not acknowledge that it's there. Validation and love are necessary in order to live a fulfilling life with purpose. There was a study done in the 1950s, and they took two groups of babies. One, the nurses touched the babies, hugged them, sang to them, gave them food. And in the other one, the nurses just went in, gave them food, and left very coldly. And in that room, when the study was finished, in that room, a lot of babies died. they died. And the ones who survived grew up with behavioral and emotional problems. So validation can literally be life or death because it is essential to life in general. And another piece of advice that I would let y'all leave with is that you are not alone. Others are either going through, will go through, or have gone through same or similar things that you have. And it is ask for help because we all go through similar experiences. We should ask for help. We should help each other out. Go to your Spiritist center, to a trusted adult, to family, to friends. Use the numbers that I said before. Find a way to, first of all, acknowledge you need help and then ask for it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sophia, and all of our panelists for sharing again. I'm so excited that they got to share this with you. They've been working so hard, and as I've noticed, they have just incredible insights and lived experiences at these ages that can't wait to see where they go next. So thank you all again.
Thank you.